Hey there, everyone. It's Dr. Sarah Andreas. And today I want to talk to you about leading through delegation. There's a lot of times when I'm teaching a workshop about delegation and accountability and all of that, and I do an activity. The activity is everybody divides into teams and then they nominate a team leader. And I have the team leader go through a series of steps and they have to make these little packets. So I give them 2 minutes and I say to the team, nobody can help the team leader. They have to do all this work themselves. And by the end of the 2 minutes, most team leaders have 1 or 2 packets complete. Then I tell them, this time we're going to reset the clock to 2 minutes and you can delegate. And almost every time the team completes the whole entire process with a couple seconds to spare. Someone did the math in class and said, hey, that's like a 300% increase in productivity. And most of the time it is. And then we talk about, well, why don't people delegate? If you can really get that much stuff done, why don't people do it more? And usually answers are, well, they don't have time or they can do it better themselves. And sometimes it's just like, hey, I don't want to delegate my favorite things. And then I talk about a study done by Harvard Business Review that talked about how people who are master delegators are about 112% more productive in what they're working on. And people start to say, okay, delegation's a good thing. But I think that a lot of people don't delegate because they don't think far enough ahead. To be a master delegator, you have to have a vision for the future of your department or your company that's further than what has to happen today, what has to happen tomorrow, what has to happen next month. To be a master delegator, you need to have a vision of what needs to happen a year from now. And you have to have lists of projects that need to be done. So that way, when you have someone who you want to help and start to groom and start to develop as a leader, you can start giving them little projects to work on. Another way to develop people by using delegation is to think about all the things that you currently do in your job. If you were training the next person to take over your role, what kind of things should you train them on? I once had a lady in one of my classes say, well, there's this report I have to run every single month, and I actually plan my vacations around the report because I think I'm the only person in the organization that knows how to do the report. And I said, well, for starters, do you have an SOP, a standard operating procedure documented so that if something happened to you, nobody would have to figure out how to run the report. They could just go grab that document. So that was her first assignment, write a standard operating procedure for it. And then the second one was delegate it and train somebody else on how to do that report. Figure out who are the 3 or 4 people in your department who could replace you and start training them on how to do that report. And then figure out what other things that you have that you do all the time that if somebody knew how to do it, you would be adding a tool in their arsenal that allows them to be a better employee, it allows them to be better prepared for the next opportunity that they might have. The more that you can train and delegate and give people skill sets that'll help them become the next leader in your organization, the better off you are as a leader. I truly believe our job as leaders is to develop our next generation of leaders. And when I say next generation of leaders, I'm not talking about age generations. I'm talking about the next people who can come behind you and who can take your spot. So that frees you up to do greater things for your organization, for your business. And it allows that person to gather skill sets that you will help them gather in order for them to take their next steps into their next roles. So here's my challenge for you. And this takes practice. It takes you thinking about things that you can delegate. It takes you taking the time to train them. There's nothing worse than to delegate something to someone when they have no idea how to do it. Because most people don't want to admit they don't know how to do something. So it's your job as their leader to show them, to have them do it while you're watching them, and then for you to let them do it and check back in and give them feedback on, hey, this is great, but you need to change this. That way, when you turn them loose with that, they are 100% confident in what they're doing and they're able to do it successfully. It's your job to set them up for success. So figure out, what things do you have that you can delegate? What are the things that you're doing that next generation leaders need to know how to do? And then make it a plan. Put it in your day timer, put it on your calendar. Spend time with them, teaching them how to do those things. And then when they're good at it, give that to them as part of their new responsibilities inside of your department. And then you find other things that you can do that add value to your organization. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you next time.